Welcome to the Digital Self-Defense Podcast, where you will learn the fastest path to a safer digital life. Makani will teach you 3 simple safety skills that will help you stay ahead of the bad guys, protect what matters, and keep up with changes in technology, even AI. Welcome back. I'm Nick Jackson, along with my good buddy, Makani Mason. He is also our master guardian. He really helps us take our digital self-defense to the next level. Super excited for today's episode. As he gave me the title, I thought of a baseball analogy. And so we are talking about skill set number 2. Skill set number 2, right?
Yeah, safety skill number 2.
Excuse me. Safety set skill number 2. And that is confident awareness. And when I read that phrase, immediately an interview from a baseball player came to mind. And it was an interview with Bryce Harper. Now, Bryce Harper is, look, if you make it to the MLB, I think you're amazing. Care less. I don't care if you sit the bench, if they call you up and down from AAA, you're amazing.
I don't know what that is, but
no worries. Those baseball people will get it.
Okay.
But he is a professional ball player.
Yeah.
And he's a really, really good batter, smart baseball player. He was given an interview and he was talking about how he had struck out the bat before. And he said, the pitcher used a pattern on me. And I recognized that pattern. I struck out. And so he said, when things got going, I knew what pitch I was looking for. And he hit a home run his next at bat off that pitcher. It was a brilliant interview because what it left me realizing is that he was confidently aware of what was coming. And so when we introduced this confidently aware, I was pretty excited. So with no further ado, we got out all our baseballs. We've been on baseball kick for a while now. It must be baseball season, huh? Anyways, that said, Master Guardian, what do you got for us? Confident awareness.
Yeah, well, this one was a challenge to name, and it still may not stick, but it's a very important piece. It's just a matter of finding the best way to describe it. So anyway, this is my best hope for it for now. But what I want to start with is actually, before I actually give you the 1-sentence summary of what it is,
okay,
we're going to start with what it isn't.
Okay. This is what it's not.
And because in some ways, it's the easiest to describe from that. Plus, I had a lot of fun with my alliteration obsession. So, but you'll notice I managed to restrain myself as far as the skill name itself. I didn't, we only had one of the 3 safety skills that had alliteration protection partners, but 2 and 3, no. So I feel a great restraint. So these things I'm about to do are not part of any formal definition, but they are a way of helping us understand. So confident awareness is the mindset we want, and these 4 that I'm about to list are kind of the mindsets or attitudes that I encounter in people that I've helped over the years that represent something different than confident awareness. And you could have multiple of these, but anyway, so the first one is innocent ignorance.
Yeah.
Okay?
I can see that one.
Well, and the reason
you didn't hesitate on that one, though.
No, I know. That's what I'm telling you. All 4 of these have it, man. That's what I'm saying. All 4 of them attitudes have alliteration. Yes. And I have the good version that's alliterative as well. So.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway. Ignorance is obvious, right?
Right.
You don't know about threats. You don't know how to protect yourself. All these things. But the innocent part is basically, as people are growing up, they just honestly don't know. It's not because they've decided, they haven't put blinders on, they're not going to look things. They just honestly haven't, because they just haven't put the time into it. And, I mean, a lot of times it's just youth or older people who grew up after it, right?
I totally agree. In fact, you stole the words out of my mouth. This is youth and the generation that grew up without it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
this is no condemnation of them, but it is something that we need to help them move away from. They need to
Yeah.
become informed. So the next one is probably the most dominant one, I think, and that's what I like to call casual complacency.
Yeah.
You might know that it is, but you're just kind of complacent about it. You're like, yeah, life's busy. I'm not, it's probably not that big of a deal.
I know a few of these when it comes to digital security. Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's hard,
Yep.
right? So again, no condemnation here,
Right.
but it's just one of my jobs as, as a master guardian, as a self-defense coach, is another way I've started thinking about myself, is to help you overcome those things.
Yeah.
So the next one, and this is probably the one I have the hardest time accepting in people, is danger denial. See what I did there?
Yeah.
Where they're like cocky,
Yeah.
that's just
I'm not going to get hacked.
Well, and it's just the old people and the stupid people who would ever fall for that kind of stuff, right? Like those people I just want to smack.
Never been any breaches of data that might have all your information floating out there, and you could care less and know nothing about it.
Yeah. So, and then the last one is panicked paralysis.
Dude, that's me.
Yeah,
that's me.
I know. And that one, this is the one that would probably, pulls my heart the most, right? Because it's like, enough to know there are a lot of danger out there, but it's like, it's so overwhelming. You don't know where to start. So it just, it makes you avoid doing certain things because you're so fearful. Or if you do them, you're, live in fear the whole time. Like I have a dear friend who, she's like, I go shopping online, but I'm always wondering, like it's a stressful experience for her compared to going shopping in the store, because she knows there's so much danger and she doesn't know for sure how to avoid it the best,
Right.
So anyway, so we want to kind of replace all those with, calm clarity. That's the alliterative version of confident awareness. We did not give it the official title. Just had to throw it in so we could have one more alliteration. Okay? All right.
All right.
Okay.
Start calling him Peter Parker.
Yeah, exactly. I don't see. I'm not alone. Well, and even, hey, who's the alternate version of Peter Parker? The animated one? Miles Morales.
I know. I know.
So, hey. So, okay. So we've set the stage. So my one sentence description of confident awareness is, confident awareness means knowing which threats matter most to you and deciding you can defend yourself.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of components to that, of course, right? And, if you go back to problematic attitudes, I mean, you've obviously got to have some knowledge and acquire that. You got to learn about what the potential threats are and on the options for defense against them. That's part of just the basic awareness, right? If you don't even know about them, you're much more likely to get bit by them.
Yeah.
There's some thinking. You got to analyze your specific life and situation, which threats are most relevant, because there may be a bunch that just really aren't.
Yeah.
And, and the layers of protection that are available for each of those threats, because some will be more, that would work better for you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And like I said in the beginning, like it's a mindset. What do you do with that knowledge? Do you decide to do something about it? Do you decide that it's too overwhelming and it's too scary and you're not smart enough? Like you've got to recognize, because this is another one that I run into people a lot who are like, no, I'm not a tech person. I'm too stupid. I mean, they literally say they're too stupid to me. That hurts me. I'm like, you are not too stupid. Yeah, I know.
Right.
You're not. you're not a tech person. That's fine, but you are not stupid, and you are capable of figuring these things out. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, we all need some help learning certain things or whatever, and that's fine. I'm happy to. But anyway, you gotta have the mindset that you can do it.
Hmm.
Sounds simple, but it's so basic.
Yeah,
So that's where the kind of the confidence piece comes in.
nice.
And then most importantly, it's a decision though too. Like you're deciding to do action, not just that you can, but you're gonna inform yourself. And so, you know, like I could teach you all these things, but if you're not committed to actually doing it, if you're gonna stay complacent, then so that's part of the skill, right? Is
Yep,
practicing it. Just one
yep.
little action at a time, and you'll get kind of the habit. Yep, I can do this. Gain some confidence. So anyway, that's the confident awareness skill. All those pieces kind of packaged together.
Yeah, yeah. I like it.
So, um, yeah. So let me So I have a few specific examples.
Yeah,
We're almost out of time, but and we'll be getting to lots of examples in future episodes. But I do want to acknowledge I don't like the challenge of this one in particular. I make jokes about those different bad attitudes with the illiterate
yeah,
and whatever.
yeah.
But I mean, I know life is busy, right?
Hmm.
And digital security is so badly broken in many ways. Like I know it's hard. That's why I want to help people because I know it's hard. So this isn't to condemn anybody. It's just to do like any good coach will do is help you do the things that you want to do. Like if you
Right.
don't want to, if you don't want to improve your online security, fine, go talk to somebody else. I'm not here to try to convince you that there's a problem or you know that you should do stuff. I'm here if you recognize that there's. What are you looking at my eyes like that for?
Because you said if you believe there's not a problem,
Oh, right.
I'm like,
Well,
man, you must have your head buried in the sand
yeah,
20 feet deep, man. If you don't realize there's a problem, data breaches occurring all the time,
yeah,
accounts getting hacked all the time. Like, come on. Like,
yeah.
you,
No, and it's a good point, but I mean, there's such a disconnect, though,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
guess maybe that's where I'm trying to get is, yeah, I don't know, that's a really interesting reaction. It makes a lot of sense to me, but yeah, right. It seems, and maybe that's part of the problem is it's just so ubiquitous at this point that it's like you can't be on red alert all the time,
right, right,
you
right.
know?
Like, you're, the problem exists. You're
Yeah,
trying to figure out the solutions, but it's so overwhelming. And
yeah,
that's the whole reason we created this, is
yeah.
so that we could start giving you the tools and to get there. So yes, sorry to interrupt. Continue
No, no,
on.
I'm really glad you did because I was like, what are those eyes about?
I
But
was like, if
yeah,
you need to talk to Nick, if you're one of those people that believe there's no digital threats,
yeah. Well, and more
it's
common,
time to
I think
wake up.
the attitude that I find is that whole what do I call that? Oh well, yeah, I call it danger denial, but more on an
Yeah,
individual level. Because the people that I've really experienced, that I've actually talked to in real life about this, it's not that they deny the problem exists in general. It's just that they don't think they're ever going to have a problem with it
right,
specifically because they're too capable, they're too smart, whatever, right?
right, right.
And that's, like if you're in that camp, I mean, I don't know, I'm not really excited about trying to convince you, you know?
Right.
There's plenty of people who recognize they need help that I'll help them and wait till the day that they get bit and then they're like, "Oh, yeah, I was wrong. I got
Yep.
screwed. Now I'll
Yep.
come, ask you for your help. Hey, welcome to the club." you know, and that's fine. So
Yeah.
anyway, um, but I want to. I know we're kind of running a little bit long, but I want to at least just give a couple quick examples to
Yeah.
give this a little bit more of
Context.
specificity, concreteness. Yeah, exactly. Um, we'll just go with two examples. I have like a whole bunch prepared, but I knew we might run long on time. So let's start with privacy. because privacy is something that I don't really talk about a lot, um, because it is one of those very nuanced things that, like, there's a ton of people who focus on it, but it's kind of, to me, feels very vague. Um, and so this is one of those things, like, you've got to think about your threats. Like, people they want to stay private,
Mm-hmm.
and like when they go online, they don't want people tracking them.
Right.
But they really have no idea how the tracking works.
Right.
They don't know exactly what they really think. Like, I mean, if you're shopping online, obviously you're giving out your address. So
Right.
it's not like you can really keep your address super private. I mean, you don't have to like broadcast it to the whole world, but you're giving out your address, right?
Right.
And so it's not just as simple as, uh, you know, I want to keep all my information private. You've got to really understand what it is you're trying to. And actually, we'll even zoom in to tracking, because this is probably the most common privacy tracking topic that I get from people is, I don't want to be tracked online. They hate, when they go search for something and then they get ads everywhere or whatever, right?
Yep.
That
Yep.
whole thing. And I was
Mm-hmm.
talking to a guy just the other day about this, and he's like, I got Proton Mail and I got their VPN, and he was thinking that this was going to solve his tracking problem. Like, literally, that was his thing. But he's like, I've done that. I've had it for months now, and I still have the same thing. Like, well, yeah, that's no surprise to me. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. And we had a long conversation, but um, that's the sort of thing. Like, they don't even have any idea. And I mean, I know that, like, it's hard to understand tracking and how it works and how you effectively fight it. But so that's where you've got to either read or talk to an expert or whatever and decide. Like, if you really care about tracking, you can't just blindly, like, okay, well, I'll do these couple things and hope. Like, he couldn't tell me why he thought those things were going to fix it either, other than there
Right.
was some marketing, right? And that's
Right.
actually will just lead into our second kind of thing that's very closely related, is if you're gonna pay money, either actual money or time, investing in a tool, like, don't use it blindly. Don't
Yeah.
just, like, you've got to understand the tool. And I know that's a challenge, but to me, most of the time, I would rather you not even bother with the tool if
Right.
if you're not going to understand it, at least at a basic level. I'm not asking you to become a security expert or a computer software engineer or anything, but VPNs are the perfect example, because I mean, they are super well known and very hyped for privacy, but in fact, like, on their own, they do really very little for your privacy and almost nothing for tracking. Um, Again, on their own, like, they can be an
Right.
important piece of a bigger picture, but you've got to know what you're doing. And preventing tracking is, like, there's probably no harder privacy challenge than avoiding tracking, even though it's like the most commonly requested one.
Right. Right.
So, but VPNs, like, they're not nearly as critical to your security as most, like a password manager, for example. If I was going to pick one tool that you would going to use, it would not be VPN. I don't know where it is exactly on my list. I have to think about it, but it's definitely not number one. Password manager is going to be my number one new tool that most people aren't using. Um, so anyway, that's my don't use tools blindly. And the first one was, like, you got to think about your threats a little more seriously than just, I value privacy.
Right.
So anyway, what are your thoughts, Nick? That's my wrap up.
That's your wrap up. I
Yep.
like it. I like it. For me, it's about having tools, knowing how to use them. I like it.
Okay.
You know, learning this skill set. We're going to learn together. Like, this is, again, for the listeners out there, if they're not aware, this stuff's new to me. I'm not your master guardian. Don't come to me with super technical questions, because I'm just going to refer everything to Makani. But for me, it's about acquiring a skill set that you can customize yourself to make sure that you are protected in the way you want to be protected.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you, Nick.
I'm holding it. Yeah.
Before you go, I want to invite you to a free digital self-defense coaching call with me. If you know you should be doing more to stay safe online, but you're not sure where to start, this is for you. I'll help you take just one step forward in your digital security, the one step that's most important for you. Sign up for free at helpmegetsafe.com. Again, that's helpmegetsafe.com. Talk to you soon.